Okay, everyone ready to go forward on the Leone matter? How do you pronounce your last name?
Leon.
Leon?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's go on the record. Calling the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Arturo Leone. And this is before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, State of California. This matter bears OAH case number 2019-120528. Today's February 20th, 2020. It's 2:20 p.m. We're here in Burbank, California. My name is Eric Sawyer, Administrative Law Judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings, and I'm presiding with a quorum of the board. At this time, I'll ask the parties to identify themselves for the record, beginning with the petitioner.
My name's Arturo Leon, L-E-O-N. First name's Arturo, A-R-T-U-R-O.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Kim Kisreliovich, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of the people of the State of California, pursuant to California Government Code Section 11522.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
When you're ready, you can provide a summary and identify the petition materials.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a petition for reinstatement of the license of Arturo Leone. The petitioner, Mr. Leone, was first issued vocational nurse license number VN152466 on April 30th, 1991. In May of 2007, the board filed an accusation based on petitioner stealing prescription pads from Kaiser Permanente, his employer at the time, and writing himself prescriptions for controlled substances. Respondent entered into a stipulation with the board for a 3-year probation, and that stipulation was effective March 27, 2008. However, on July 30th, 2009, the board filed another accusation against petitioner and a petition to revoke probation. The basis for the second accusation was similar to the first. Petitioner continued to forge prescriptions to illegally obtain controlled substances, and thereafter petitioner failed to participate in that proceeding, and a default decision and order were rendered, becoming effective April 17, 2010. Today, petitioner is requesting reinstatement of his license. At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to mark for identification and move into evidence the petition and supporting documents.
Okay, those materials are marked as requested as Exhibit 1 and admitted. Mr. Leon, that means the board has read and reviewed and considered the petition and materials, and I've put it into the record of this matter.
Okay.
All right, at this time, I'm going to swear you in, so please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, under penalty of perjury, under the laws of the State of California, that in this hearing you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please have a seat. I know you basically did before, but just as a formality, would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes. First name's Arturo, A-R-T-U-R-O. Last name is Leon, L-E-O-N.
Okay, thank you. I know you have additional materials that you've given copies of to all the board members. So can you briefly tell us what these are?
First one is the opening statement. The other 3 letters are letters from my supervisor, Juan Cerrillo, and 2 letters from friends, acquaintances that know me well. 2 acquaintances that know me well.
Okay, your supervisor is, you said Juan Cerrillo?
Yes.
I see. Okay. All right, so we have your opening statement, and then we have 3 reference letters.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to mark these all collectively as Exhibit 2. Ms. Kisreliovich, do you have any objection to Exhibit 2?
No objection.
All right, it's admitted as well. I do see that you do have an opening statement. If you'd like to read that to the board, you may just remember to do so slowly so the court reporter can keep up with you.
Yes. Approximately 15 years ago, I started using prescription narcotics. At first, it was by legal means. Seeing a doctor. Then, since I had access to prescription pads, I was writing my own meds for Vicodin and hydrocodone syrup. I did this because I was trying to deal with the everyday stresses of life and raising 2 children that I love dearly. This is not an excuse for my poor choices, but it is a reason. But fortunately, it had caught up with me. I was arrested and spent 8 days in jail in order to attend rehab counseling and attend NA meetings. This had occurred in February 2008. I had completed all requirements ordered by the court and paid all fines. However, my license was revoked and I was an unemployed, unskilled worker. I spent many hours realizing the consequences of my actions, and I alone, are to blame for my actions. However, with the support of my family and my friends, I have abstained from all narcotics and live a happy life. I'm here today to ask the board to reinstate my license because working as an LVN is what I did best. Caring for people. My goal is to become a registered nurse and work in drug rehab and help others and give a little back. I'm currently enrolled at Fort Hill Community College and taking prerequisites for our RN program. This includes anatomy and physiology, A, B, and C, which I have completed already, introduction to public health and medical terminology, which I also have completed, and I'm currently taking fundamentals in pharmacology. Thank you. Pharmacology.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Leone.
Thank you.
Questions?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Leone.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Leone, why did you default in the underlying matter?
I don't understand.
When the board filed a second accusation against you in a
Right.
petition to revoke probation, you did not respond or participate in that process in any way. And as a result of that, your license was revoked. Why did you not participate in that process?
I believed that my license was going to be revoked regardless. I felt that I burnt a bridge and that no matter what I said at hearing, it's going to be revoked regardless.
In your packet, you state that your sobriety date is February 12th, 2008. Sorry.
Yes.
However, in the second accusation that was filed, there's a cause for discipline that states that you lied on a job application in 2009. How do you explain that?
I don't know what job application I was. I don't know which job it was.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes?
Thank you. Can you turn, Mr. Leon, to page D10 in the packet?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm going to look at paragraph 15, starting at line 28, so all the way towards the bottom, and then going up to the top of page D11, it says, on an application he submitted to Westmed College San Jose Vocational Nursing Program, dated March 23rd, 2009, he indicated that his license was current and active with an expiration date of February 8th, 2010, when in fact the license expired February 28th, 2009, and had not been renewed. On the same application, you claimed employment as an instructor with the vocational nursing program at Boston Reed College beginning in January 17th, 2009, whereas in fact, you were not an instructor for the Boston Reed College vocational nursing program.
Yes, I read this. I remember reading this. That's not true. I was an instructor. I have a W-2 form from them.
Okay.
Yes, W-2.
So it is your testimony that you were an instructor, so that was a true statement.
That was
What
true.
about the statement that your license was current and active when in fact it had expired?
Expired in 2009. Maybe if I said doesn't expire 2000, then I lied. I'm sorry? Then I lied.
Can you explain why you lied?
Why I lied? Because I was looking for a job. I need a job. At the time, 2010, the economy was not very well, and I couldn't find a job as anything. So I was looking for a job as an instructor since I had previous experience working as a medical assistant instructor. And I was basically hoping they wouldn't recognize that it was expired in 2010. So I made a mistake and I lied.
How can the board be sure that you're now safe to work in an environment where you have access to controlled substances and prescription pads?
It's a good question. It's been over 12 years since I've had any type of narcotics. So I raised February 12th. So I have not had the situations that I've dealt with when I was taking the medications. I used to work in the emergency room. It was a very stressful time. I used to get really upset at certain situations. Babies dying was very upsetting to me. And one of my coping mechanisms was taking Vicodin. It was hard to be upset when I felt euphoric. Euphoric? So, I still go to NA meetings, not very often. I have not had a craving for drugs. I do not seek drugs. I've had issues with pains, but ibuprofen's worked best for me. Ibuprofen has worked best for me.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. We'll take questions from the board now, beginning at my far right.
Hello,
Hello?
I have a question. So it's stated on the petition that you have attended at least 50 meetings since the events, right?
Yes.
And you say that you no longer attend any NA meetings at all?
I've rarely, in the past 5 years, I've gone to 3.
Do you have any others, like a sponsor in place or any kind of support?
I do not, other support that I do have, not officially like Narcotics Anonymous, my friends, my girlfriend, amazing support. I can't say enough about her. She's amazing. But yeah, I'm working towards a better life for both of us.
Thank you, no further questions.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So you're currently attending Foothill College, is that correct?
Yes.
And I believe they have an RN program, correct?
It's actually a sister school through De Anza.
De Anza, correct?
Yeah.
Should you get your license reinstated, would that make you eligible for like advanced placement?
Yes, it would, exactly. Advanced placement, and because of LVN and military, I was an LVN in the
And
Army.
do they do the multi-criteria, so it would give you the extra 5 points as well?
Well, I wasn't told exactly details. I was told I get to go to head of the line.
You go to the head of the line?
Yeah, because of
So
military.
that would, because of
and-
the military and having your LVN
Exactly,
license as
yes.
well. So, you said, and I'm sorry, I can't quite remember. Right now, you're taking,
I'm taking pharmacology, fundamentals of pharmacology right now.
and
Fundamentals of pharmacology?
have you finished your other prerequisites, anatomy, physiology, and micro?
I finished just in this, in 2019, I finished anatomy, physiology, A, B, and C, all the core classes. So I finished those. I had finished microbiology in 2001, so they said I might need to retake that again since it's been over 7 years. I've finished prerequisites for English and chemistry and other general education classes.
So you're preparing for that road of being an RN.
Yes.
So I guess that's one of my core concerns is being an RN can be very stressful. And certainly we see many, many sad, really sad things. How will you help yourself cope? You said it's hard to feel sad when you were taking the drugs and you felt euphoric. But how, as an RN, even an RN student, where you're put in situations where you see incredible sadness, what do you have in place to help you cope with some of that potential sadness that you'll see?
Of course, I'm aware of that. What I'm doing now for stress-related situations, I go to the gym, exercise. It's great. If exercise could be in a bottle, I drink it up. And it's great stress reliever. I talk to my friends. I talk to my girlfriend. I also have access to the VA, their psychiatric unit. So anytime I really need a stressful situation and I need to talk to somebody, I could go to a professional psychiatrist at the VA.
And if you do get your license reinstated, do you plan to return to work as an LVN, or are you mostly going to use that license to assist you as you move forward to become an RN?
I would like to do both, basically work in drug rehab, which I did when I worked in the nursing pool. I floated to a drug rehab site once, and I liked it. And I'm not exposed to the medications, so, and it really helps people.
And then you obviously have some life experience you can share with them.
Yes, exactly,
Also,
yes.
And one last question. Community support. Do you belong to a church? Are you involved in some kind of a community support group that gives you that net of people?
Yeah, my girlfriend and I go to a church, Sokoy Christian church in Redwood City, so we attend that regularly.
Thank you so much. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
In your petition, you mentioned that after some dental work, you were prescribed 10 Vicodin.
Yes,
Did you take the 10 Vicodin?
I took 6 of them, and the teeth were pulled, 6 or 8 teeth were pulled, and he gave me 10. In 2 days, I took 6 of them. I didn't need them anymore. I threw the rest away.
And did it create the same sense of euphoria?
A little bit, but I was taking them like one every 8 hours, so.
As
where in the beginning-
prescribed.
As prescribed, yes. Where in the beginning, I was taking them more. Because I hadn't had any Vicodin since 2008,
Right.
and it was prescription, and so I wasn't used to it, so it did give me a little sense of euphoric.
So you weren't drawn to
No.
resume?
No. I threw the rest away. I didn't need it.
Okay. You have a fairly substantial balance from your prior investigation. Are you?
So for $5,500, yes, I'm aware, and I'd like to make payments on that.
Okay. And you're obviously preparing to take the test, which will
Yes,
be
I
necessary.
have the NCLEX books, and I read it, study it frequently. The NCLEX book?
Okay, I have no
Yeah.
other questions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for coming. My questions were answered already. Thank you.
I have no questions for you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr.
afternoon.
Leone. When you went to the healthcare provider in 2008 and you put on your application at page A6, you had your teeth pulled as was indicated and you were prescribed 10 Vicodin. Did you reveal to the healthcare provider your history of addiction?
I did not.
How come?
I'll be honest, I thought he wouldn't give me any. If he did, it was hurting. I thought maybe if I could just take a few, because I had 6 teeth pulled, and it hurt. And I figured if I said, no, I am an addict, he wouldn't prescribe them to me.
That's a concern for me, anyway, because it suggests that you're given the accommodating circumstance, you're willing to say anything to serve your needs.
At the time, yes, it was, but I've changed. Honestly, I've changed. And I want to live my life transparent. I want to be honest. And like I said before, I have no need for Vicodin. Ibuprofen works for me. I have no need for Vicodin, and ibuprofen works for me.
And you indicated you previously attended NA programs,
Yes.
but no longer. Maybe 3 meetings in the past 5 years you
Yes.
testified. And you indicated a sobriety date of 2008, although you've had Vicodin in 2016. How are you different now, since you're indicating you don't have the addiction support group, but rather a personal support group? How are you different now from how you were then, 10 years ago?
Situation that I'm in now is not the same. I was in a tumultuous marriage. We fought like cats and dogs. I was feeling guilty at the time. I came back from the war. I was a medic. I was doc. I was supposed to heal everybody, and I couldn't save everybody. So part of my guilt, to relieve my guilt, was alleviate my guilt, was to take the narcotics. And it worked. Now, I've talked to a psychiatrist through VA. I've learned to deal with it. I've learned I couldn't save everybody. It wasn't my fault. I'm better. I've just don't have a need, don't have a craving, don't have a desire for narcotics.
Okay, so other than the desire part, and you indicated some of your cravings were situational, based on the
Yes.
stress that you were experiencing.
Yes.
Do you have any other kind of support that would address the issues underlying the cravings?
I'm sorry, under what?
Let me state it a different way. What kind of support do you have now that goes beyond, that addresses your cravings issue?
If I had cravings, would be psychiatry help at the VA, my church, and my family, and my girlfriend.
And the reason I ask that, Mr. Leone, is nursing is probably the most stressful kind of occupation that somebody could ever engage in, like you were saying. So you're right here testifying in front of a group of students, and you indicated there were things going on in your life that drove you to do the conduct, the prescription fraud, right?
Yes.
What would you say to these students here who are looking forward to a career in nursing about how to deal with stress?
Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. There's help out there. There's NA meetings everywhere. Before you even start, think about it. There's ways you can alleviate the stressful situations. There's help out there. I was doc. I wasn't supposed to get help. I was the person that was supposed to get help. I realized I needed help. And I've sought it, and I found it.
So you're saying even the desire to ask for help is a show of strength?
Yes, exactly.
Very
Yes,
well.
that's,
Thank you for your service,
Yes.
Mr. Leone.
You're welcome.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Yeah, good afternoon, and I too would like to thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. First, I just want to get clear, I don't know which page I saw it on, but in one of the pages you referred to being an addict in the past tense. Are you or are you not an addict?
I'm an addict.
Okay, you are an addict, okay.
I denied it. I denied it first, but I've lost everything. An addict, a non-addict doesn't lose everything. I'm an addict.
I'm glad to hear you say that. That's important. I'm a little confused on the timing here. It looks like if you had a sobriety date of 2/12/08, that you lost your license because it was revoked. You were on probation. You were actually sober at the time that this came down. So if we were to reinstate you, you're going back on probation. Why did you not? I understand that you didn't go to the second hearing because you felt all was lost. You had no chance of saying anything to change what was going to happen. But why did you choose not to participate in the probation when you were actually sober at the time?
Because I thought the past, what I've done was irreprehensible. It was, you gave me a chance first time, and I blew it.
Right.
So why should we give you a second chance? I thought, why would you do that? You're going to blow it again. I thought the board would think I would blow it again if they gave me a second chance.
That's my concern right now.
Yes.
Is we're contemplating a third chance.
Yes.
No, second chance. What's different? Why now? How do I know? How do you convince us that you are going to meet all these stringent? It's not going to be easy.
Right. I've realized the consequences. I realized where I lost. And it's just not worth it to take a drug, to relapse. It's I wish I could be as articulate as I want to be, but I wish I could be as articulate as I want to be, but
Okay.
it's the consequences, the people I've disappointed, the people I've hurt. Although I've tried to make amends, it just ain't worth it to you anymore. And I realized the consequences. And to have my license reinstated, to have the job that I love doing, caring for people, and it's not worth losing again. I worked as a day laborer for so long, I feel like I deserved it because I was working, I feel I was doing hard labor, and I committed myself to hard labor, which was hard. But I told myself if I get my license back, I'll never, ever touch another drug.
You mentioned that you have seen or see a psychiatrist through the VA. I'm a little concerned. You mentioned again in passing being in a war situation, in a combat zone, returning home. It sounds like there's some trauma there to be dealt with.
Yeah, they diagnosed me with PTSD. I was also put on trazodone and Cymbalta, which has helped. It was helped me deal with the PTSD, along with counseling and group therapy. And I feel so much more better about it now than I did 10 years ago.
So you're addressing that currently?
It hasn't been an issue to be addressed with so much as it was back then. Occasionally, hearing stories about survivors, and it will occasionally bring up guilt. So yeah, I will be open and talk to a therapist about it.
That's kind of my last question, is that if we were to grant you an opportunity to go back onto probation, certainly part of that is going to be you re-engaging with NA or AA or some other program. Would you engage because we told you you had to, or would you take advantage of that opportunity?
I would definitely take advantage of that opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a couple of follow-up questions along the same lines as what Mr. Slaughter was talking about. Were you given, you were given medication for the PTSD?
Yes, I was given trazodone.
Okay. You're not currently taking them?
I do still have trazodone, but much lower doses to help me out for sleep. 50 milligrams versus 400 milligrams now. I take trazodone as an PRN, 50 milligrams as needed for sleep.
And that's the only thing, just for the trazodone for sleep?
Yes.
Is that nightly?
It's more PRN, I would say about twice a week.
About twice a week? Okay.
That was given through the VA.
And what was the other medication that you were on?
Cymbalta.
Cymbalta? And you stopped taking that?
I did stop taking it.
Did you stop because your therapist said it would be okay for you to stop, or does your therapist know that you stopped?
My therapist knew that I stopped, and he said, as long as I'm doing better and I feel, not depressed, it's okay.
And you're not currently feeling depressed?
No, not currently feeling depressed.
How long have you been off the Cymbalta?
Oh, for a while, about, last VA, about 2 years now.
About 2 years?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel correlation between the depression and the PTSD?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. It was a guilt feeling. See somebody die that was so young in front of you. So.
I can't imagine what you went through with all of that. But I am concerned that you were on medication for it, you're not on medication for it now. There's depression and PTSD, and you're not in any kind of therapy. But so are you readily connected to someone and confident that you would recognize when you would need to approach therapy again?
I do have a primary care physician. I have talked to him. He's had also referred me to the mental health. So, I see my primary care physician about once every 3 months, and I talk to him about anything. Mostly it's physical, but occasionally it has been mental that I've talked to him about.
Okay. And so you were in the war, and you had a lot of guilt over the war. You were a medic, I think I heard you say that?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So you have some ongoing things related to not being able to save people there.
I'm sorry?
I imagine, you said you had some ongoing things about not being able to save everyone?
Right.
Okay. Certainly, and again, thank you for your service. I can't imagine what watching that is like. You also mentioned when you worked in the emergency room that seeing babies die upset you.
Yes, it did. I'd go home crying.
You go home crying. Okay. But you're feeling confident now that you could deal with the PTSD and putting yourself in an environment where you might see babies dying again, that you could deal with it without having to turn to a feeling of euphoria.
Right. I have access to mental health. Like I said before, it takes courage to admit when I need help. And I've stepped up and said, I need help.
Did you go to work under the influence of the drugs?
I did.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. I have no further questions.
Okay, the board has no further questions, so we'll do closing statements. Ms. Kazreliovich, do you have any final thoughts?
No, Your Honor, the people have concluded their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leone, any final thoughts for the board?
I'd just like to thank the members of the board and Your Honor for giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the matter's submitted. The record is closed. And we're off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Werth will be the next matter. Werth matter?
Yes.
Ready?
Okay. All right, let's go on the record. Calling the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Kamala Werth. This is before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, State of California. Today's February 20th, 2020. It is 2:59 p.m. We're in Burbank, California. My name is Eric Sawyer, Administrative Law Judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. I'm presiding with a quorum of the board. At this time, I'll ask the parties to identify themselves for the record, beginning with petitioner.
Yes, my name is Kamala Werth.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Deputy Attorney General Kim Kisreliovich, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California, pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Okay, good afternoon. When you're ready, you can provide an overview of the case and identify the petition materials.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a petition for reinstatement of the license of Kamala Werth. The petitioner, Mrs. Werth, was first issued vocational nurse license number VN 204994 on July 15, 2003. In April 2015, the board filed the underlying accusation based on petitioner's conviction for burglary and for petty theft. Petitioner entered into a stipulation with the board to surrender her license, and the board's order was effective and petitioner's license surrendered effective 2015. Today, petitioner is requesting reinstatement of her license. At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to identify the petition packet as Exhibit 1 and move it into evidence.
Okay, it's marked as requested and admitted. Ms. Werth, that means the board members have possessions of this, and I've made it part of the record.
Very good.
Okay. All right, so if you would please stand and raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that in this hearing you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And please have a seat.
Thank you.
For the record, please state and spell your name.
Yes, it's pronounced Kamala Werth. Kamala Worth.
Okay, thank you. You have provided the board members with an additional document. Can you tell us what this is?
Yes, it's a letter of reference from my attorney. He's been working with me, since that case and a few other cases before that.
Okay, so this is a one-page letter from James M.F. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
All right, we'll mark this for identification as Exhibit 2.
Thank you.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, it's admitted. All right, so Ms. Werth, is there anything else that you'd like the board to know that's not in any of the documents that they have?
Yes, Your Honor. Right now, I am currently working a part-time job. I work 28, sometimes 30 hours a week at a laundromat. I make minimum wage. I have 2 kids right now, 26 and 21. My 21-year-old is going to college right now full-time, and my 26-year-old was diagnosed back in 2015 with catatonic schizophrenia. So I've come up against some great challenges when it comes to obviously stress and obviously finances. I attend church. I am Pentecostal. I do have a therapist. I see my therapist once a week. We go over a lot of the triggers on my stealing and family dynamics and how this all started. I've been in 5 different domestic violence situations. It's not an excuse for what I've done, and I do recognize that the severity of my crime is taken very seriously by the board and by the public as a whole. Everyone suffers. I just have been working now and seeing the severity of my actions and the consequences that I've managed to bring up. It's never put out the flame in my wanting to become an RN, nor to maintain my LVN. I've always wanted to be a nurse since I was a little girl. I just wasn't prepared for financial difficulties. So since then, 5 years ago, I have attended financial courses through City College in San Diego. My son is a math tutor at City College and Mesa College, so he's helping me. And I feel confident that whereas 5 years ago I wasn't knowledgeable in my bank account or in my savings or in my just everything. I didn't pay any attention. I just did what I had to do, and my upbringing was such the mantra of beg, borrow, or steal. I was pretty much raised on that, and it's what I did. So I'm here today, hopefully able to clarify any questions you may have about my future petty theft use, and my character as far as telling the truth about my problem. And I don't have a history of alcohol or drug use, but I do see that this is like any addiction. It can ruin your life, and it can take hold if you don't take care of it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Werth.
Good afternoon.
You mentioned in your petition that there was an additional conviction in February 2015, a
Yes.
misdemeanor.
Yes.
Can you please describe the circumstances of that conviction?
Yes, I will. My daughter had just come back from Denver, Colorado. I had not seen her for over 10 years, and she came here on a flight, basically with just the clothes on her back, and she was showing erratic behavior, and I didn't understand it. So she started to cut her thighs, and I could see she was bleeding, and I knew I needed to get her help. I had taken her to the hospital, and they diagnosed her and said, we're going to hold her for 5150. And then they told me she has the onset right now, beginning stages of schizophrenia. And she kept repeating certain statements. And that's when they said her behavior was exhibiting catatonic schizophrenia. I had no money. Actually, I was homeless. I lived at the San Diego Mission Rescue. And I had basically a backpack and a suitcase. I had no idea that I could just go to any charitable or church to get food, because I had not ever asked anyone about those types of outreaches. When she came, I wanted to get her what she needed. and I did what I had to do. That's it. I went to Albertsons, and I stole $103 worth of food for her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You, just now you testified that you have a therapist that you're seeing one time per week, but you
Yes.
didn't mention that therapist in the petition for reinstatement. How long have you been seeing this person?
Oh, goodness. Well, it's been about 5 years now. I wasn't able to deal mentally or emotionally with the stress of my daughter, so I started seeing a therapist, and then she referred me to NAMI, and I got the support I needed from them.
Why did you not mention this ongoing therapy in your petition for reinstatement?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought I would have that chance here today. I don't know.
You also stated in your petition that you did an online petty theft program, I think you described it as,
Yes.
related to your compulsive stealing. Was
Yes.
that the only treatment that you have engaged in related to compulsive stealing?
For 120 hours, yes.
And it was all online?
Yes, it was.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, the board now will have an opportunity to ask questions. We'll start this time on my far left.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you said that you were raised in the beg, borrow, or steal, and that's
Yes.
kind of your mantra.
Yes.
You also said that you don't have a drug or alcohol problem, but that you understand that your desire to steal is just as much of an addiction.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you also said that you were seeing a therapist to discuss your triggers. So what are your triggers that compel you to steal?
Basically, it's having to put food on the table, having to meet their needs, and they were a lot younger, 5 years ago. They didn't understand, and they couldn't just go out and get a job. Maybe my daughter, but mentally she wasn't ready. That was huge, was trying to provide food for my family.
Okay. So certainly understandable, food. The things that you stole, 'cause you were
Yes.
arrested 3 times, I think, and then had a
Yes.
4th arrest?
Yes.
The things that you stole, you are saying now that you stole for necessity,
Yes, I did.
but you still consider that an addiction?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So was it mainly food items that you would steal?
Mainly, yes. And then, of course, it escalated. It got into household goods, dog food, cat food, detergent, bar soap. basically.
Necessities.
Yes.
Necessities.
Yes.
You also said in your packet here, it says that you were seeing an unlicensed intern for
Yes.
therapy?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't realize she was unlicensed. I thought she told me she worked under a doctor, but that she was going to be taking her boards. And she called me a year afterwards and told me she didn't pass.
Okay.
So I couldn't.
And that's the person you were referring to when you checked the box that said that you had attended therapy but no
Yes.
longer were?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And that's why you wrote to no avail?
Yes.
Okay. Was the therapy helpful, though?
Yes, it was, and it still is.
Okay. So now I want to circle back to the question that you were asked about why, if you're currently in therapy and you've been in therapy for 5 years, did you not check the part on the application that says, are you in therapy? And if you can help me understand your answer a little bit better, because your answer simply
Yes.
was you thought you would deal with it here, and then you said, I don't know.
Well, okay, so when I didn't know that if you would accept the fact that the lady that I was seeing had no license, I did include that. But in my mind, I'm not including that because I'm thinking, well, all that's, a waste. I spent, 6-9 months with her and it didn't even count. So I didn't even think about that. But then I still continued therapy, but it wasn't just therapy for the petty theft. It was also petty theft for the domestic violence. I currently have depression and I do take Paxil, 30 milligrams once a day.
So the therapy that you're seeing now is with a licensed therapist?
Yes.
Okay.
And psychiatrist.
Okay. And that is you're seeing therapy for more things than the stealing, if I'm
Yes.
understanding.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. If I may address the board. So I just wanted to shed some light. I'm certain you know this, but the burglary charge has been dismissed because $38 is not. Okay. Just didn't know if you all knew that. I had stolen $38 with a sticky note that I wrote that I wanted milk, cheese, eggs, whatever. And they found that and said, oh, because you've done this before in the past with other stores and we found this note in your purse, we're going to make it stick. We're going to charge you with burglary. But it has since been dropped.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So here's my concern, and maybe you can help to alleviate this. I won't pretend to understand the disorder of stealing. You describe it like an addiction. You use the word urges. Can you explain to me the urge that comes over you? Is it a thrill? Is it a?
I don't remember calling it an urge, but
It's on page
if I have.
08. It's
Oh, on
section
my
18.
statement.
I can abstain from my
Urges.
from any and all urges with
Yes.
regard to stealing. So
Well, I was told by the therapist that these generate from an urge, a compulsion.
right?
So I was merely quoting and using her, quoting. I was using her and quoting her language, I guess you could say.
In the 120 hours of coursework, did they discuss it as urges?
No, it's compulsive, OCD.
It's compulsive.
Yes.
So you're compelled, you feel
Yes.
compelled to steal under certain circumstances.
Yes.
And you say that the trigger is often need?
Yes,
Okay, so my concern is that you are going to have, if your license is reinstated, you're going to have to pay some fines, you're going to have some obligations.
I've paid my fines, sir.
Oh, okay, my mistake. You, as a nurse, are very likely to end up inside of a person's home. You just a moment ago said $38 and kind of dismissed it as being an inconsequential amount. However, you're going to be in situations where you're going to be trusted in people's homes, and there could be $20 sitting there unattended that somebody may not. What has changed that you're not going to
Okay.
steal that $20 because you're still going to be in a financial bind here for a little while?
Well, actually, since then, like I said, I've taken some financial courses, especially on banking, and so I find myself in a better position financially. I've managed to invest. I don't have the urge, as I've said, to steal other people's money. Food, necessities, yes. Why? Because it's there for me to take, as in it is how do I say this? The only way I can describe that, how my therapist said, when you're in that state, you want to satisfy the means that is missing, that part that's missing. So if I'm hungry, I'm going to take that food, but I don't steal from work. I don't steal from my clients. I've not ever done that. I have stolen from stores, and I have taken food and necessities. Again, it's that part of me that's missing, that I don't want to jeopardize my job and have them, as a repercussion, fire me, but I will face being arrested and having to deal with that.
Well, that doesn't actually allay my concerns about stealing from clients. Perhaps they're freezers. Describe a little bit more detail. What is the current therapy regimen that you're participating in?
Yes.
How often do you meet? What do you discuss? What tools do you have at your disposal?
Okay, again, I have cognitive. I also have cognitive therapy. We also have intensive therapy where I get to sit down and role play. I also have it's like a meditation, but it's a metaphoric type therapy. A lot of it has to do with my childhood and what I learned. It's erasing those tapes and those pictures in my mind that say it's okay to do this and rationalize. It's not okay. And being in this type of therapy helps me to see that. So I don't know what other therapy I could get for this.
What would you do in a circumstance where you were in a wealthy client's home and they had plenty of means, and you got the urge to help yourself to food or money or something? What would you do in that moment to avoid doing what you've done 4 or 5 times that you've been caught for?
Of course, yes.
What would you do?
Well, like I said, having the urge in someone's home or on the job, let's say I'm on the job, I don't want to risk that. I already know my pattern. My pattern would be to see it, want it, have that craving, and then go to a store and take myself to a Target, a Walmart, Albertsons, and do it there because it's a mask. It's like a curtain. But on this level, I've gotten so many tools now that I can use: my journaling, my prayer, my biblical time, my sisters in church, my Bible studies at home. I have a lot more than I had before. Before, I'd been out of the church for 20 years. And I never thought I was going to go back. This has changed my life for the better. And it's made me become more revealing. And to speak up. Tell my neighbor, hey, can I borrow some eggs? Can I borrow some bread? Can I use some detergent instead of stealing it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Werth, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to clarify something I think I heard.
Yes.
Did you testify that rather than stealing from a client, you'll go to a commercial store and
That's
steal
what I've
there?
done in the past, yes, sir.
Because what you've been doing is describing a pattern or course of conduct or behavior. So other
Yes.
than the times you've been arrested, are you saying you stole in between there?
Well,
Did
again,
you steal other times from?
I did after this incident. I think the DA mentioned one that happened in 2015. So, but I had done one that you have right now on the table. So I did it again.
Okay, so other than the one
Right.
that the
Not
Deputy
since
Attorney
then.
General, you have not stolen
Not since
then?
then, no, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. No, sir.
I'm a little befuddled.
That's okay.
So the thefts of record add up to how many?
Well, now they're off my record. I have this one that you guys have on the table. It's coming off in June. It would have been on there for 7 years. And then the one that the DA has, I have 2 more years on that. But other than that, before that, I had, I think, 3 more. So it's a total of 5, I believe.
How do I ask this? Are we saying those are the ones of record because one was caught? And
No, they were all caught. You have record of all of those.
just a second. And that there might be others that aren't on record because one was not caught.
No, I wouldn't say that. Everything that I have had that I've been arrested for has been obviously I'm not good at doing that. And it's not something that I want to be good at.
So there were no other
No, there were not.
attempts or?
No, there were not.
Okay. As you were describing, and my colleague said you're demonstrating a pattern,
Yes.
and you told us about how you are handling that stress. A little earlier, when you did your introduction, you said something about you never would have asked anyone.
Exactly.
What did you mean by that?
Okay, in the whole learning process, when I was a lot younger, my mother never asked. She wouldn't ask our neighbors. She wouldn't ask the church. She wouldn't ask her own mother for food, for clothing, for anything for us. She was an alcoholic, and she died at 50 of cirrhosis. When she went down, I kept that hidden, and I did not open up. And that's what I meant.
So one of the good points, you now ask when there
Yes.
is a need and you're willing to receive.
And I'm willing more, I think, now to talk about it openly with other people. And when I get the urge, as I said earlier, and I have a friend who knows or is aware of my past, I'll say, today is not a good day. And they know. It's kind of like my sponsors. Once I've told my friends and they know that I can't go to the store today, they're like, okay, we understand. Let's talk about it. And we have our chat, and I'm able to journal, and I'm able to take all of that with me and go back, my tools, to my therapist and talk to her.
So this is an example of what you might do if you are working
Yes.
as an LVN in a client's home
Yes.
or in a circumstance
Yes.
where you might have an urge, as you said.
Yes, these are definite examples of what I would do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I have no current questions.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So what did you do as an LVN? What field were you working in?
Prison nursing.
Prison nursing.
Prison nursing. Administrating.
So should your license be reinstated?
Yes.
Have you thought about what field you would like to work in?
Yes, I want to work at the VA in La Jolla.
You want to work at the VA in La Jolla? Boy, you got this specifically. That's nice.
The reason being, and if I may just take a second or two to share this, I was in the Navy. I did learn everything I know today from them. I was in for 9 years as hospital corpsman. I advanced to E4, HM3, And I loved it. It taught me so much about what I was capable of inside. And I loved what I saw, what I had to deal with. I just felt like that was where I needed to be. So my old CO, or my ex-CO, she's excited about having me come, and she said, I'm very supportive of you. And I said, okay, well, and she said, if you need me to write a letter, you let me know. Well, honestly, God knows what I've done, and I'm here to just lay it all out for you. I don't think I need to keep bringing more and more for you guys to see. I gave you the one letter. He's been working with me ever since day one when I started falling down. So,
A couple more questions.
Yes.
So you mentioned that you want to be an RN.
Yes, I do.
Are you on that path already? Have
Yes.
you taken some classes?
yes,
What are you taking?
I am. I'm with Kaplan now. They told me, Kaplan College, because I went to their, I guess you could say their mama school, Merrick.
Yeah.
So they told me that enrollment will start this June. I've enrolled for it's a 18-month program, Excelsior, and hopefully, I'll get through it. My son's tutoring me now for the dosage part and all of the math that comes with that.
And do they give you advanced placement if you have your
Yes.
LVN license? And that's how you
Plus-
finish in 18 months?
Yes, exactly. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, if she has her LVN license, they'll give her advanced placement?
Yes, and because I was in the military,
Ah,
I'll
so
get to
you
go.
get double credit
yes,
for that?
Yes, so I'm really excited about that.
Ms. Werth, do me a favor, let everyone finish their questions before you start answering. If both of you speak at the same time, it's really hard for the reporter.
Apologize, thank you.
Okay.
So you're on this path already?
Yes, I am.
And you're, okay, I was just curious because you mentioned it, and it seems like this is part of your overall plan.
Yes.
And it seems like you've thought about this a lot as you've looked at getting your license back. So it looks like maybe you have a job lined up, and you're on this path, and will you be able to stay at a job while you're doing Kaplan?
Oh, yes. My CO told me that they're going to work with me on my hours because they have a ton of kids that are going to school right now. When I say kids, I'm 53. I'm not a kid, but they said they'll work with me. So I'm excited.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Okay, no further questions
May I
from...
ask one question?
Oh, yes.
So specifically, you've had 5 convictions, and you've only stolen 5 times in your life?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no further board questions. We'll wrap it up. Any final comments?
No, Your Honor, the people have concluded their presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts, Ms. Worth?
No.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, the
Alrighty.
matter's submitted, the
Alright.
record's closed, and we're off the record.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take about a 5-minute recess, and then we'll have our final hearing for Ms. Herrera. Herrera matter. Okay, I believe everyone's here. You all ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, let's go on the record. Calling the matter of the petition for early termination of probation of Sabrina Herrera. This is before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, State of California. This matter bears OAH case number 2019-120530. Today's February 20th, 2020. It's 3:43 p.m. We're in Burbank, California. My name is Eric Sawyer, Administrative Law Judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings, presiding with a quorum of the board. At this time, I'll ask the parties to identify themselves for the record, beginning with petitioner.
Sabrina Herrera.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Deputy Attorney General Kim Kisreliovich, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California, pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Okay, good afternoon. When you're ready, you can offer a summary and identify the petition materials.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a petition for early termination of probation for the license of Sabrina Herrera. Ms. Herrera was first issued her vocational nurse license number VN 275918, on September 25th, 2013. In February 2016, the board filed the underlying accusation based on multiple instances of abuse of alcohol and convictions related to those incidences. After a hearing on the underlying accusation, the board adopted the recommended decision placing petitioner on 5 years of probation. Petitioner's probation is currently set to expire October 19th, 2021. Today, petitioner is requesting an early termination of that probation. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to mark as Exhibit 1 the petition probation report and petition for early termination of probation and supporting documents and move it into evidence.
Okay, those those materials as described are marked for identification as Exhibit 1 and admitted. Ms. Herrera, that means each board member has a copy of them, and they've been reviewed and they're in the record of this matter. Okay, I'm going to swear you in, so if you'd please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that in this hearing you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please have a seat. And for the record, please state and spell your name.
Do I have to press this button? No. Sabrina Herrera, SABRINA
Thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned, the board has reviewed your petition. Is there anything in addition to what's in the paperwork that you'd like the board to know today?
Sure. I'd like the board to know that since the time that I was convicted and given the second opportunity to keep my, have the probationary status, I've excelled at my job. I became a preceptor, the only one in my floor. Got nominated for Nurse of the Year. Let's see. It's more nerve-wracking up here, sorry. I continued to go to AAs more than once a week. I'm present with my family now versus before I wasn't. I accepted a lot of the things that during the time that I was drinking, I was just pointing fingers at people, reasons why I would drink. I understand that this is going to be a lifelong thing for me, and there's not even a sip that I can ever take because nursing is important to me, my family is important to me, and I'm important to me. So I really would like to continue with my educational goals for myself and my family. And with the probationary status, as mentioned in my petition, it has hindered me from being able to be accepted into the schools. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Just a couple. Ms. Herrera, do you have a sponsor?
I do not. I had one for like a couple days, but they expect you to do 90 meetings in 90 days, especially the tougher ones, tougher sponsors that are all about the program. And because of school, joining the softball team, work, and after work programs that I'm in, I couldn't commit to doing them.
Thank you. In an otherwise positive probation report, you did miss 58 call-ins for testing. 42 times you had a doctor's note, and 7 times you were out of the country without documentation or advance notice. Can you explain this?
I believe that it said that all of those were addressed. Hold on. So on A003, it says Herrera missed drug and alcohol testing on May 15, 2018, May 29, 2018, June 7, 2018, and June 12, 2018. However, Herrera submitted proper medical documentation from her doctor for those dates. And then Herrera missed a drug and alcohol test on May... Sorry. And then... Can I just start over? I don't know where.
From her doctor for those dates, and then...
Additionally, Herrera missed a drug and alcohol test on May 31st, 2019. However, Herrera submitted proof that she was out of the country on that date.
So I'm specifically referring to the paragraph below that, which says, Herrera has failed to check into Pharmatech on 58 separate occasions. And then it goes on to state that 42 of them were due to medical reasons, 7 of them were due to being out of the country. You submitted proof of both of those. But given that on a number of occasions you did fail to check in, is there anything further you would like to explain about how many times or why so many times you failed to call in? 58 seems like a large number.
Okay, so if Herrera has failed to check into Pharmatech on 58 separate occasions, 42 of those dates were due to medical reasons. 58 minus 42, right? That would be, so that's only 6. And then Herrera submitted proper documentation. And then, 7, and then 7 of those dates were due to her being out of country. That explains them. Or am I understanding incorrect? Because it's saying that I missed 58 total, but then it explains furthermore where those 58, or am I misunderstanding you?
You might be understanding, and if you have nothing further to add about those missed call-ins, that's a perfectly acceptable answer. But 58 times of failing to check in when your sobriety and compliance with probation is obviously one of the most important things in your life. My question is there anything else that you would like to add to explain these, or are you just going to let the probation report stand as is?
Well, I had the medical reasons would be due to surgery, and so I was actually in the hospital. So I couldn't drive. I was out, unable to drive for a month. So I believe that that's what the board has, that it says that I couldn't drive for a month. And when I was out of country, Pharmatech was contacted, and they need to look wherever I'm at and see if they have a testing in that area. And if they don't, then they don't. I guess I'll stand by it.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. We'll open it up for board questioning, beginning at my far right.
Thank you. I have no questions.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So are you currently enrolled in an RN program, or are you currently taking classes towards your RN?
Yeah, I'm currently taking classes. I've talked to a couple of schools, but you have to have an unencumbered license. And because of my probationary status, I can't even apply to get into the program.
So are you taking prerequisites like microbiology and anatomy and physiology? Are you currently doing that?
Correct.
And what school are you attending?
So I've gone to National and I've taken all of their prereqs, so like their biomedical statistics that's required to get into their program, their workplace Spanish. I've done A&P already. I only need micro, but I'm just taking a bunch of random classes. I have actually taken some alcohol and drug studies because of this incident.
So did you say you just need micro?
That's correct.
And so does National have a program that you could get into if you had an unencumbered license?
That's correct.
And refresh me what city that's in, just.
San Diego.
In San Diego, that's what I thought. Okay, so you're making that plan. Should you get your license reinstated, do you have a plan for, oh, you're already working because you're on probation. I
Yeah.
understand. Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Just a quick question. You have a fairly large balance outstanding for the prior investigation. Have you made any payments toward that?
Yeah, I make.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I should have corrected the record earlier. My apologies to the board. But there's a current outstanding balance that is only $565. That was the most recent as of last week. I meant to mention that in my opening.
That's a fairly substantial correction. Thank you.
My apologies.
I'm sorry. Thank you. And to you.
I want to thank you for coming and commend you on doing a good job so far with the probation.
Thank you.
Because I know that it's not easy. So, thank you.
Thank you. I do have questions. You were sharing with us the challenge of maintaining a sponsor. I just want to make sure I'm clear. While that might be a challenge with the sponsor, what about attendance at groups?
You mean like AA and NA?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to several different ones, just depending on my schedule. So I also go to NA, which I like the most, even though I don't have an issue with NA. It's a close-cut group of girls, and it's females only, and it's more intimate, I guess, and we share a lot more. And actually, there's 2 girls there that I have their personal numbers, and we talk more regularly. They just want to be, they're very like into the program, but I go weekly, once or twice. They have candlelight meetings, but those are only once a week, and those can be as late as 10 p.m. at night.
So you are actively engaged?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Over this time, as you've gotten to understand your addiction, what are the triggers, in your opinion, that you've learned make you or made you indulge?
It was my emotions and communication. I wasn't.
I'm sorry, your emotions
and communication.
And how are you handling those without the sponsor?
So, like I said, with those group of girls, it helped me understand that I can speak. It's actually really, I don't even know what the word is, but when people talk to you and tell you how they feel, it's awesome, you know? You're just like, oh wow, like that's how you feel, versus before I wouldn't say anything, and then it would get to the point where I'm like, oh, need to go drink, and then that would supposedly make everything go away, but you never face the problem. And now, being sober and facing the problem, it fixes it. Who would have thought, you know? So now what I do is I go head on to what that problem is, and I talk it out, which before I had a big issue doing. And so if I need to, I call one of those 2 girls, or I go to another meeting that week.
So if I'm hearing correctly, this new way of approaching triggers has had positive effect life-wise. What about in your workplace?
Oh, I think it made me a better preceptor because I can, what this taught me, this experience, is that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say how you feel, even if it may hurt the other person, because it's the truth, and it's going to lead to a better end result.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Herrera.
Good afternoon.
So you had a total of 3 DUIs
Yes.
in the space of 3 years. What's your actual sobriety date?
It's October 1st, 2015. The day, it should be the day of my last conviction. I'm sorry? October 1st, 2015. The day of my last conviction should be.
And if I can just make an observation, on the occasion of your last DUI, you had a rather very high blood alcohol level. It was
Yes.
like 3 times the limit. So that's just a concern. So I'm sorry.
Oh, is that yes?
Yes.
Okay.
So my concern is that even with this period of probation now behind you, are you, and in the absence of a sponsor, is there some other support network that you have in addition to AA?
Yeah, so now I've joined a softball team. They're super supportive. I'm pretty open now about not drinking. My friends all know. They don't even ask me. My family, my sister. I have 2 beautiful nieces now that just looking at them is like support in itself because I want them to have someone to look up to. The 2 ladies that I told you about from NA, and I eventually do want to get a sponsor. I want to get everything together. Actually, I have hopefully a job waiting for me once I get out of this probationary, if I can speak, probation status at the hospital where I would be able to work 3/12s. They don't want to hire me because they don't want to do the paperwork that this requires. I met someone that's important in the hospital through softball, liked my attitude, but they're basically waiting to see what happens here today and hopefully transition me there. So that would be 3 12-hour shifts. I'd be able to get more classes in and then be able to work hopefully with a sponsor with my more added free time.
Okay, so assuming this board
Yes.
grants your petition for early termination of your probation, are you going to continue with AA?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Hi. Good afternoon. Just to clarify, you don't have a sponsor, but have you ever worked the steps?
So I kind of work the step with the girls from NA. So when I'm talking to them, they are going through the steps because we hang out outside of NA.
Okay, because if we grant this and you're going to be on your own, there'll be no accountability. I do encourage you to continue. It seems to be working for you at this stage. I guess my other question, with the $565, generally we like to see that paid off if we choose to grant enter the probation. Is that a burden to you at this time?
I'll probably just use a credit card. I'd rather be off probation. I'll find a way.
Okay, so you would be able to do that without being a burden. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. So you had 3 DUIs over a 3-year period, and now you've been on probation for 3.5 years. You've been sober since 2015, so a little bit over that. And you feel confident that you're ready to come off?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And the reasons that you want to come off that I've heard is, number one, that you're very committed to getting your RN, want to go into that program, have done everything that you can do thus far. Okay. She's done everything that she can do thus far, right? You just have to get into the program now.
Correct.
And you have job opportunities that you're being denied because the people simply don't want to have to deal with the quarterly reports. That's
That's
required?
correct.
That really sucks. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no further questions from the board. We'll wrap things up. Any final comments?
No, Your Honor, the people have completed their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hara, any final comments? No?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. The matter's
you.
submitted. Record is closed, and we're off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam President.
Okay, that brings us to closed session. This meeting will now adjourn to closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 1126C3 to deliberate and vote on the above matters and any other disciplinary matters. So if we could have the room cleared so we can go into closed session. Thank you.